Okay, so this video continues along with our exercise 1. This is video 2 of 2, continuing along and understanding how to work with layers. But this time we're going to work with clipping mask. And so I did provide you all with a bugs file. And if you open it up, there is a lovely little file with lots of different interesting bugs. Choose a bug of your choice. I'm going to choose one that I absolutely hate, and that is the spider. And I'm copying it over using my direct selection tool. Going over and then hitting my selection tool, then doing a Control C or a Command on the Mac, C, and then moving over to my Untitled file, and then doing a Command or Control V for paste. So now I have my lovely spider. So we're going to create another object that we're going to use as a mask. This object is going to be called the clipping mask, and I'm going to choose a polygon for that. Go ahead and do this, and I'm probably going to rotate it just to make it look halfway decent. Okay. There we go. So we are going to move the clipping path above the objects you want to mask in the stacking order. So for example, we have this layer, and we have all of these little paths that make up the spider. What you want to do is you want this to be moved to a new layer. So make sure it's selected, and then let's go ahead and create a new layer. We'll call it the polygon. Okay, and let's go ahead, and since this is selected, let's move this up to a new layer. So now if the test layer has the spider and the polygon has this. So you've got your spider, you've got your polygon. You really want to move the spider over the polygon to make this work, but I will tell you, the spider, if you copied and pasted it over with the direct selection tool, now we've got all these little paths, so we're going to want to group those. So go ahead and grab your selection tool and then make an invisible box select around your spider, and then we'll go ahead and do an object Okay. Should be grouped. Ungroup, object group. There we go. So we've got the object grouped. So when we select it, we select the whole thing. Let's go ahead and select it and bring it, sit it right over the top of that polygon. And now what you want to do is you want to select both objects at the same time, or you can select the layer at the same time and go to Object. You want to make sure they're selected too, though. And then you want to go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. So now you don't really see anything. Well, you can go in and target that spider, but I want to show you what happens before. Hopefully we have a group. We'll ungroup. Let's make sure this is grouped again. Let's make it really large, spider large. And now let's select both objects and go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. See what we have. We have a clipping mask. We can edit that clipping mask by going into the direct selection tool. You can edit it by targeting certain areas to change the shape of the clipping mask. You can also target other areas behind. One other way to release that clipping mask, if you don't like the way it looks, you can just select both and go to Object, Clipping Mask, release, and then it's released from the clipping mask. What we're going to do is we're going to work with opacity masks. We just did clipping masks. I'm going to move that out of the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and create another object here. And I'll even put this on a new layer. And I'll just call it opacity. And I'll move that to the opacity layer. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and I want this to be a bright green color gradient. So you want to make sure that your gradient panel opens up for you. And mine is, and I've created my gradient. You can do that by dragging from the swatches panel the different colors. I believe I did this bright pink, clicked it, dragged it, and dropped it right over here. And then I had this blue, clicked it, dragged it, and dropped it there. That's how I created that gradient. And then I really don't want a gradient stroke, so we'll just close that out, make it none. Okay, so there I have it. I have a gradient stroke. The next thing we want to do is we already have this on the opacity layer. We dragged it up there earlier. We want to open the transparency panel and choose show options from the panel menu to see the thumbnail options. So that transparency panel, if you don't see it, make sure that's in front, or go to your window transparency. Now we want to double click directly to the right of the thumbnail in the transparency panel. You want to do that when you have this selected. Double click here, and then it creates a mask and it goes away on your actual working document. The next thing you want to do is use the drawing tool or text tools, but I'm going to do a drawing tool to draw a mask shape. I'm going to use the paintbrush tool, and I'll make it a little different here. Go here, and then we'll do 10 stroke or something. To draw a mask shape, we'll do that. And you can kind of see the shape. It kind of goes in here, and you see it on the right in the clipping as well. And you see it has a little bit of that gradient showing. Okay, click the mask artwork thumbnail. So I'm going to go back to my transparency panel. Click this thumbnail in the transparency panel to apply and exit mask editing mode. So we're back. We're away from the mask editing mode, and now we have this sort of opacity mask that goes in with the drawing tool. Okay, to convert an existing object into an opacity mask, you want to select at least 2 objects or groups and choose Make Opacity Mask. So you can move that over to the side. If you wanted to do that with 2 objects or groups, we've got that. And then let's say you had a star here. And let's say that star was, we'll have to go to our swatches, was an orange color. This was a little bigger. You would want to select both of these objects, and then you would want to go to Make Opacity Mask. And that's in the transparency panel. There you go. And so you've got your opacity mask combining of 2 objects, and then you can play with the opacity here depending on, obviously you have to have it selected, depending on what mask you would like that to take on. And that adds some really nice features to some of your graphics. So that is how you create opacity masks, and I will see you in the next video.